Hey everybody, and welcome back. This is Project Instigate and I'm Fatima, here to help you through academic, leadership, and personal development. Today we're touching on a really important subject called mentorship, and I'm going to tell you today why you need a mentor going through university. Hello and welcome back. Let me start by sharing a story. When I first started university, I went through some classes and I noticed, as most students going to universities do, I noticed an overlap in my schedule with some other students. I saw them frequently, got to know them, we became friends, not super close friends that I'd follow up with them and keep in touch with them all the time, but it was mostly just us having, a lot of classes together and sitting together, and we got to know each other a little bit better. But as I got to my second year and start finishing my second year, just about to start my third year, I stopped seeing a lot of these people. Now this is normal because when you're starting, at least in North America, the first year tends to be very general, and there's a lot of courses that you have to take no matter what program you're in. And as you progress through your degree, it gets a lot more specific, and you end up taking classes that are specific to your area, and sometimes students end up changing programs because they find one that they like a little bit better. And so it's quite normal to run into students from all kinds of programs in your first year. So I didn't really give it much thought when I stopped seeing a lot of these people, right? But many of them I actually did meet outside of university, same town, city, you go to places, you run into people, it happens, whole world. So, and of course this is not all of them, this is, definitely a minority of them, but a lot more frequently than I thought this would happen. But I ran into them, and it turned out they had dropped out of university. And so I'll share this one particular story with you, with this one person that I'd become decently good friends with. And I ran into her in a cafe and we started talking, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? How's life? We started talking about our jobs, and then I said, so how's university going for you? And she said, oh, actually I dropped out. So I said, why? And she said, well, you know what? I was already in my second year, and I felt like I wasn't very prepared for university. I was trying to take a whole bunch of things, trying to decide what I'm good at. I don't think I was equipped with the tools needed to succeed in university. I didn't have this skill or that skill, or university was becoming really hard, and just in my second year I'd already racked up over $40,000 of student loans, right? Which is a lot of money. Now, depending on which university you're going to, and especially if it's one of the really expensive ones, that number may not surprise you. But, the university we went to, the tuition was quite, average, and in fact, lower than some of the other universities as well. So, based on that, $40,000 plus in second year, it seemed a bit high to me. Also considering that I did manage to graduate with a very small amount of student loan compared to my peers, which is a story for another day. But I said, where did all this money go? And a lot of it went into taking all these random courses that she didn't need. Some of it went to, living expenses actually, and so on and so forth. But the main reason was, taking a lot of courses, a lot of different ones, trying to figure out what you like, what you dislike, and, just really at the end feeling very defeated, because she felt like she didn't have the skills to be able to succeed. She felt like she had tried enough things to say, university's not for me. And unfortunately, to this day, I run into a lot of people who share their stories with me and tell me how they sort of give up on university in their first year or second year, because they didn't have the right people to coach them and guide them through the process. And that's partially my reasoning behind creating Project Instigate, so that doesn't happen to more students. But let's talk about mentorship and why that's very important. Now, I did have a flip chart that I created, okay? And I just don't think, I think because of some of the lighting, there might be a bit of a glare. So I may post a picture of it online. So let's see how that's going to work out. But if I'm looking in this direction, I'm using the flip chart that I actually made for the video as references for my notes now. And I'll figure something out for next one. And if I haven't already mentioned, I have 2 birds. I haven't had the chance to move them out of my office for filming today. They're being really nice right now, which is nice. But they typically tend to talk when I'm talking, and then they stop talking when I stop talking, and then they want to, chatter again when I start talking. So if that happens, I may have to stop and then, come back. So now let's talk about mentorship. What is a mentor? Okay, a mentor is, think of a mentor as a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. They can help you, guide you through the process, right? They're typically where you would like to be, and you can learn from their trials and errors, and you can learn from their expertise and their experiences, right? And oftentimes I tell people you can't have just one mentor. You need multiple mentors because we're multi-dimensional beings, right? We have a lot going on in our lives, right? We have health and fitness goals, we have education goals, we have career goals, we have family goals, we have hobbies, we have, at any given time, we're all juggling multiple things. And to be realistic, we all strive for that well-balanced life, but as a student, you know that there's no such thing as a balanced life, right? And when I do say students, technically this video can apply to anyone, but I am speaking to students in university or those who are just about to go to university, right? So you know very well as a student that, there's no such thing as life balance, work-life balance, studies life balance just doesn't happen. So because we have these different areas in our lives that we are, trying to juggle at the same time, no one person can be an expert in all the different things that we want to accomplish. So you may need multiple mentors in your life. Actually, you will need multiple mentors in your life to guide you through different aspects of your life, okay? And I'll get into that a little bit later in more detail. But, where do you end up finding a mentor? Okay, so a mentor can be found anywhere. I can't make you a list of places and say, this is where you'll find a mentor, this is where you'll find a mentor, this is where you'll find a mentor, right? That's not how it works. If I'm being realistic, right, you might find a mentor in the most unexpected places. But as a student, most likely you will find a mentor in your university, right? So this may end up being a faculty whose classes you enjoy, whose teaching method aligns with your learning method, which is really important. And also, this professor or, instructor would be willing to give you time in their office hours to help you through some things. You maybe give you extra time if you need that help academically. But basically, they also don't have to be, but it's better if they are doing research in a field you're interested in, or doing some sort of work outside of university that you're interested in, and they can help you get there, right? When I was going through university, I had a few different professors that I considered my mentors. One in particular, I found myself always being fascinated by his research and the work that he did, his perspectives on different things. I loved his teaching methods and, lecture delivery and some of the tools that he provided students. But also I really like that he's really helpful to students in a more general sense. So for example, if I'm working on an assignment for a different class and he happened to have books and resources that could help me, he would always offer those. And I always considered him my mentor. He ended up being my honors thesis supervisor, and I still consider him my mentor, right? So, but that's one area, right? Another area you can find mentors are different departments of university, right? When you're involved in student life, if you're involved in student life, which I do encourage, you will find, mentors in different departments depending on what part of university you end up volunteering in. Maybe it's the career center, maybe it's the international students office, maybe it's the student association or student union, maybe it's going to be the student leadership department, new students office. It really depends on where, right? So I had a mentor through student life that I was involved in, but here's one that I really recommend. Find a mentor in your library. Librarians are a great resource. They are really good at finding information. There's a reason they're librarians. So it doesn't matter what you're wanting to do or where you're wanting to go. It's really good to be friends with some librarians. And this might sound a little bit nerdy, but I have to, librarians really love to help students. And I got to know actually 2 librarians in specific really well that helped me in different areas, right? One of them, honestly, there's a lot of ways that I improved my academic research paper writing skills, but definitely the biggest credit goes to one of the librarians. And the other one that I really connected with was an expert in citations, and I ended up learning a lot from her in terms of APA, MLA, Chicago, Caribbean legal citations. She's the one that created the citations guide for our university, and both of them I actually really admired and considered them to be my mentors. Another one is the Learning Center, right? Actually, one of the learning centers, I'm learning strategists at the learning centers. I consider her to be a friend and a mentor. We're still in touch quite frequently, and I'm really hoping to bring her here for an interview for a future video. So look for those places, but outside of university, you can find mentors anywhere. You may have a manager at work that you really look up to who's willing to mentor you and guide you for success and promotion or career advice in general. It may be a member of the family. Let's say you want to start a business. It may be a neighbor or a family member who is successful at a business, right? And also, you never know. You might find your next mentor at a bus stop, right? You may be at a bus stop. Now, I'm not encouraging that you try to, find mentors on bus stops and start having a conversation with every single stranger. But, some of the greatest conversations I've had have come from talking to strangers, right? So I'm sure my parents wouldn't be very happy to hear that, but I've always loved talking to strangers growing up. Now, you might go somewhere and you might be standing beside someone and it might trigger a conversation, you might click, and you never know where that might lead to, right? So, moving on from where you can find a mentor to why do you need one? Okay, so mentors can help you in a lot of different ways. First of all, as a student, they can help you accelerate academically, right? So teaching you proper academic skills that might be missing. Because a lot of the times, and I say this often, when we go from high school to university, and I'm not saying every high school is like that, but I do believe that a vast majority of them don't prepare students effectively for university. And universities expect that high schools will send these students prepared. And so there's this major gap in between where students are completely lost, right? They're not equipped with the skills, they're not doing well, and that's when they end up getting frustrated, dropping out, or sometimes they'll have a huge dip in their GPA in the first year, and depending on how the GPA works at your university, you may not be able to fix that, and that might affect your grades for the rest of the time you're in university, right? Especially if you're being graded on a bell curve, it's detrimental, right? So a mentor can help you succeed academically. They can help you develop the right skills, right? So let me see, do I want to say anything else about that? Thinking, right? Okay, so accelerating academically is somewhere, they can really help. Accelerating professionally. So once you work with a mentor, they know you really well, and they can offer career advice, and you want to be careful to take advice from people who are where you want to be and they're successful at it, right? So, but also a mentor can also open your doors to opportunities and say, hey, you know what? I saw this job posting and it made me think of you. I think you'd be a good fit for it. You should apply. Or, hey, there's this other opportunity, or there's this event or webinar or conference that is really going to help you with this other thing you're doing. Would you like to attend, right? And so they can really open a lot of doors for you. They can help you professionally, and they can also challenge your mindset. What does that mean? That means they can help you think more critically. You may think you know something really well, and you may have really strong opinions about it, but a mentor can come in and say, hey, wait a second. Okay, you make a valid point, but have you considered this? And you may think, oh, actually, you know what? I haven't, right? And, they can also help you develop some, they can help you with ethical and character development, honesty, integrity, especially academic integrity is really important. That's something I feel really strongly about. And I'm going to do a more detailed video on academic integrity. But, that's where, you, in terms of having integrity and character development, it's accountability, transparency, doing things right, not taking shortcuts, doing things wholeheartedly, that kind of stuff. And then, what is the last thing? Yeah, I think I already mentioned opportunities, so we can move on from that. Now, before I end this video, I really want to tackle some mentorship don'ts. Here are some things that you do not want to do. The first one is what I call take, right? So that means a mentor-mentee relationship has to be a give and take, okay? You can't just take. If you're going to be that person who goes and seeks out other people only when they need something, you're going to end up pushing everyone away, right? So make sure whatever relationship you have with a mentor, it's a give and take, right? They may be there to help you and guide you, but if there's anything that they ever need help with, and that's an area that you're skilled in, make sure you offer that. Another way is whatever you learn from a mentor, you may find someone else and have the opportunity to mentor them. And in that case, you really want to make sure that you're passing that knowledge along, right? It's not just about me, take, what can I get from you? It's about what can I give, right? Be a giver, not a taker. Okay, so the second thing is not following through, okay? Your mentors are your mentors for a reason, right? If they tell you to do something a certain way, do it. Now, it may work, it may not work, and then you can come back, you can reassess, right? But, do it. Otherwise, why are you wasting their time? Why are you wasting your time? Let me give you an example. I had someone come to me and say, hey, Fatima, now just a bit of a note on listening skills, active listening. When people vent or talk about something or complain about something, they aren't always looking for your advice, okay? Sometimes they just need someone to listen to. And in that scenario, the worst thing you can do is give advice. So be very mindful of that. But in this case, right, I'm talking about specifically when someone comes seeking your advice. So I knew this one person who loves getting advice, right? She'd come to me, she'd say, hey Fatima, I'm having this problem, can you give me advice? What should I do? And I look at her situation, I assess it, I ask her some detailed questions, trying to gain like a whole holistic understanding. Then I'd say, you know what? Here are your options. You could go this route, this route, this route. If you do this, these are, the possible outcomes. Or if you go with that, I never tell people what to do. I just give them options. And then it's up to them to decide what is a better outcome based on those options. So she should come to me, she'd get advice, and then not go and implement it. And the next time I see her, she'd come back with the exact same problem, right? And then, then I would say the same thing. So basically, I saw this person 3 or 4 times, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to, get my advice and then not follow through. And then when this happened a 4th time, I said, wait, hold on a second, what's going on here, right? Why aren't you implementing? Like, we've already been over this, we've already discussed this. I don't have anything new to say. I've given you the options. You haven't followed through. I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste your time. So why are you doing this, right? And so that is a really bad habit to do, so make sure you avoid that. But on the flip side of things is not knowing yourself really well. You need to know yourself. You need to know where your expertise are and what you're good at, right? And this is also where I can really relate. This is actually what happened to me personally, where let me give a good example. Okay, let's take public speaking for example. I once had someone mentoring me on public speaking, right? I have been public speaking as long as I can remember, right? I do not remember a time when I did not public speak, right? That's how far back it goes. Right, so this person is mentoring me in public speaking, but when it comes to public speaking, I love it so much, and I feel like I can never learn enough, and so I love it when people mentor me in public speaking, right? And I'm all ears. I want to listen. I want to learn. I want to try different methods, and so there's this one person who wanted to mentor me in public speaking, and the thing that I found out is, one thing's for sure, doing public speaking for so many years, I kind of have a system down, right? I know what I need to do. I know how to get things together. I know how to prepare for I have a very particular strategy for public speaking that is very unique to me. And with this one particular mentor, our presentation styles and our preparation styles were very different. Like, they did not align at all, right? It was so difficult. We were just constantly out of sync, and every time I'd get feedback, I'd go implement it, I'd come back, and she wasn't happy with how I was doing things. But I, instead of saying, hey, you know what, I know a different way that works better for me, I thought, what, this person is more experienced than me in public speaking, or so I assumed at least. I need to, I have to learn from this person, and I need to try harder to make their system work for me. And their system just wasn't working for me. And eventually, that mentor-mentee relationship just kind of fell apart. And it didn't really end well. And while that's unfortunate, I learned a really important lesson there, right? If there's an area that I know I'm good at, right, moving forward, I decided I'm not going to compromise on my expertise, right? At the end of the day, I have to make a presentation. I already know how to best do it. And if someone's method doesn't align with mine as much, I need to speak up in a respectful way still, but I need to speak up, right? And that's something that I really want to pass on, where a mentor might be really great at something, but at the end of the day, they're not you, right? You have your own particular skill sets that you bring to the table, and you need to recognize them, right? And if there's something that are your expertise, and you need to say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm good at. I need to do this my way, because through trial and error of many, many years, I have found this to work for me, right? Another example is if you're studying for a test, right? And you're a visual learner, you need pictures and images and colors and highlighters and, little colorful tabs. But someone tries to teach you something through an auditory learning. And again, that's a whole topic on its own, where, we're all sort of a little bit of all learning styles, but we tend to have a preference for one. And there's a lot of back and forth debate about how true that is. But the point is, like, just as an example, if you're a visual learner, but someone's trying to help you study for an exam through auditory learning mechanisms, it's not going to work for you, right? So you need to know yourself well. So that's something I want to pass on. And the last thing that leads from that is choosing the right mentors. You really want to choose mentors that are experts in what you want to accomplish. So, for example, you don't want to take, health and fitness advice from, or like nutrition advice from someone who's not a nutritionist, for example, right? You don't want to take public speaking advice from someone who's never been on a stage. You don't want to take advice on, I don't know, like, let's say you're into photography. Would you take advice from someone who's never held a photographer, right? So that kind of thing. But also there are people who did something for so many years and then they quit, or because they just weren't successful at it, right? It's good to learn from their mistakes, but remember, don't use them as mentors, because their mindset is going to transfer into yours. So you really want the mentors that have succeeded and are succeeding still, and are continuing to work and develop in the area that you want to build your expertise. So those are some of the really important points that I wanted to pass on about mentorship. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment below. I will be happy to answer it. You can reach me through social media or send me an email. But make sure, if you found value in this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what it is that you'd like me to talk about next. Okay? Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.